Welcome back to another very special interview Wednesday here on Turnbuckle Trash Talk. I am the officiant, Kent, and joining me today, Bob's here.
Bob's here.
This is Bobby Flaco. Bobby, first off, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure, man. Thank you.
Bobby is a one-time ACW Cruiserweight champion, has been on the WWE Network, trained under Dante Fox. We've got a lot here to unpack, but let's go back to the very, 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 very beginning.
Ooh.
When did you first discover wrestling? What's your first wrestling-related memory?
Oh, my first wrestling-related memory, truthfully, might have been the little N64 games. We're going way, way, way back. Now, that's before you fall in love with it. But, yeah, that's like the first thing that I remember was like WCW on the Nintendo 64.
Was it like WCW NWO World Tour, or was it Revenge? Which game? Do you remember specifically?
I want to say Revenge. I know we always at least had Revenge. I can't remember which one was like because there was always that one go-to, but I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Who was your favorite character to play as?
For that one, it was always back in the day, man. I can't even remember for that particular game. Maybe Kane. I love work. Kane's fun.
Yeah.
Kane's underrated, man.
Definitely.
Kane's underrated.
So how did you first discover wrestling on TV? When was the first time you actually started watching?
My dad would always watch it. So like on TV, I would watch it whenever I could. My dad and mom were always together, but I would watch it online too on the WWE.com. I remember first one I seen was like Rey Mysterio and JBL like highlights, and that's what really, really like, as an older kid, got me hooked on it.
Who were your favorite wrestlers?
Oh, Eddie Guerrero is number one for sure.
What was it about Eddie Guerrero that drew you to him? What did you like most? Was it his in-ring work? Was it his promo work? What was the influence there?
I mean, the most would be character for sure. Or at least for me, that's what I've come to know, that even if it's a small thing, his character was just incredible to me. Intensity in the ring, always making it. You could tell he put everything into it, for sure.
And was there a particular moment or time when you decided finally, okay, I want to do this. I got to try my hand at this. This is what I want to do with my life. When did that moment happen for you?
Man, that happened for me when I went and toured the WWA 4. There wasn't really, I kind of got brainwashed into real life for the majority of my, adult life. I went to college, and I was a manager of places. I sold cars, toda esa mierda. I did all that. I did all that shit just because nobody really tells you can chase your dreams until somebody chases your dreams. Shout out to King Garuda. He's a WWA 4 wrestler that I've known for a long time, and he introduced me to AR Fox, who's the best trainer in the world and only gets better with every single weekend that he gets to go wrestle the best wrestlers in the world and bring that information back to us.
So I hear always interesting stories about how people discovered the schools they want to train at, because it's not kind of widely known. People don't know.
You don't know it's a thing.
Yeah, people don't know the process of getting into wrestling. People just think people just do it, or they come from an amateur background. They don't realize.
No, without names. I knew people from wrestling families who got into wrestling that way, and it was almost like, I don't know if discouraging is the word, but that's not nobody saying anything negative towards it, but it looks like your last name is this, so now you get to go wrestle now. I never knew you could just go to a school and train until I did.
And how did you find WWA 4?
My friend King Garuda, he's from out of there. We're from the same town. And truthfully, that was it. I'm lucky, man. I didn't do my research. I just showed up there, and I liked the vibe, and it turned out to be the best wrestling environment there could have ever been. It turned out to be the best time to start wrestling that there ever could have been.
Well, and Dante Fox is a trainer. He's a ridiculously super talented athlete, but he's one of those guys who you might not have heard of if you didn't know the indie scene. Like, you wouldn't know him from WWE or WCW or TNA or 3D or anything like that. So what was it like training with Dante, and how did that help benefit your experiences later on?
Training with AR Fox I've owed my entire career to him entirely. He's taken not only myself, but every single person who will listen at the WWA 4 under his wing, and he preaches a psychology that's just on another level, and I just couldn't be luckier, because I wouldn't have known him from as a kid, you always wanted to wrestle, but as an adult, as a college student, as an adult, I was a casual wrestling fan. So I didn't know who AR Fox was, but at the same time, you know, whoever else is out there training, I don't know who they are either, or I didn't. So I was real lucky, and I'm just blessed to be in the situation I'm in, and yeah.
What was the hardest part about training for you? What did you find to be the most difficult challenge to overcome in the training process? Now, I know for me and a lot of people, it was bumping, because you're basically going against your natural instinct to protect yourself from falling to the ground and just saying, yep, I'm going to take this right on the back. And that was difficult for me at first, but what was most challenging for you?
I think the most challenging, maybe not necessarily physically, the most challenging part of wrestling for me is like, and it's not really wrestling, but like dieting and like working out and stuff
Conditioning,
like that.
that kind of stuff, yeah.
Because I was just like a skinny like kid. I would never like, I hated working out. I don't necessarily like it, but it's part. I want to be the best at this, so you gotta look good. That's kind of like a different change for me. I wrestled in high school, and that's hard, man. Ask anybody who's ever done it. Ask anybody who's ever done it and done another sport and wrestles now. It's harder than that, man. But the physical stuff is, you know, it's difficult. Being hurt sucks. Being hurt's probably the worst part about wrestling. You're not like everything hurts, obviously, but being to where you can't wrestle and having that pride.
All right. For those who don't know, we are actually filming on October 30th, right before Halloween. It's about to be the Halloween edition of ACW Proving Ground, so you can hear them throwing some Michael Myers music, which hopefully won't give me copyright issues. But let's continue. What was easiest about the training process for you? What did you find like right away you were like, I got this, no problem?
The easiest part of the training process was me grasping the fact that you get out what you put in. And I swear to God, everybody says that about everything. Everything I've ever been a part of, everything I've ever been a part of in my life, they've told me that. But professional wrestling really is that thing. And if it is your dream and you put what you want into it, that's the easiest part for me, is knowing that one day I'll get where I need to go.
Yeah, so it's, you know, you're going to get a return on whatever you invest in, so you make sure to extra invest to get that extra return. And we actually saw that in you being featured on Evolve on the WWE Network, first ever Evolve show on the network. What was that experience like? I mean, that's taking things to a whole new level when you've got not just Evolve, which is another tier, but also the kind of WWE backing, which is a tier beyond that. Tell me about that experience from start to finish and what that was like for you.
It's incredibly humbling, just because you know that the WWE had eyes on every single little aspect of that show. So you know that you had to be at least capable of, you know, performing for that kind of product. And, you know, being a manager is just as big of a thing as being a wrestler.
You're still on camera. Your face is still on screen.
Everybody knows. I've been really fortunate, you know, as my wrestling develops, to be able to be featured on all those places as a manager and doing that. And to be on WWE Network, man, I was more happy for like Fox and Ruff. I was really happy for Fox, but I was happy for both of them, man. Like, they are the ones who really put us there. AR Fox and Leon Ruff are the ones who took the WWA 4 to the next level on Evolve and started wrestling like, you know, AR Fox and Ruff versus the Street Profits. You know, they're
huge.
truthfully changing the game every single time, and to be on the roller coaster ride is incredible.
Well, and I've worked with Ruff on several of FIP's shows, and he's absolutely amazing talent, but also just a really genuinely good guy. And I'm noticing that about the students coming from WWA 4. You don't see a lot of egos. No. You don't see a lot of attitude. You see a lot of genuine talent and love for this business. Was that kind of instilled in you guys through his training, or is that just the kind of people that come out of there?
Well, I think it's contagious. It was instilled in us for sure, but in AR Fox's, you know, we were around for Austin Theory too. I mean, it's just contagious. The real, truthful love for the business and the dedication and there from the time it opens till the time it closes, and lack of attitude. We hold each other accountable for sure, and we dig into each other sometimes, but it's because we're receiving all the right information and we want to apply that to each other and be, you know, the next one. I mean, you only matter of time for Leon Ruff's in WWE.
Oh, absolutely. You got Theory already in NXT.
Theory's already there. Liam Gray, Adrian Atlantis, Alex Kane, the guys that come down here with us. It's an awesome culture. It's a great culture, and I encourage anybody to be a part of it.
What do you remember about your first match? Tell me all of the gory details. What were your feelings going into it? How did the match go? Who was your opponent? Anything you can remember about that?
Man.
Because I've heard some great stories about people having the most amazing first match and getting paid really well to, pooping their pants in the ring. So what was it like for you?
My first match was really cool, actually. It was almost a little bit like too cool. Like, all my friends were there, and it was with shout out Ashton Starr, who's just an incredible worker from the WWA4 as well, who taught me a lot of the stuff I know. Any indie shows I ever went to, I would make sure he's one of the top guys there that, if he's there, I want to go there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was just an incredible match. I had a lot of friends there get a little bit too rowdy. I almost felt a little bit ahead of myself, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And then the second match, that's the one. That's the stinker you want to hear about.
Tell me.
But none. Just my first match was incredible, man. And AR Fox was the ref in it, and we were just able to tie little fun storylines into it, make it easier. And the WWA4, it's still an incredible universe, but you missed it back in the old days, man. It used to be in this back of this club and the coolest warehouse, just 3 or 4 rings and just workout equipment everywhere, a little stage, man. Just a real cool environment.
That's a really almost luxurious training facility, because nowadays you see them in a lot of like storage units and like one ring where the wall is not even like 2 feet away from the ring. Like, you're really in these cramped spaces, no air conditioning. That sounds almost like a performance center setting. So that's very fortunate to be a part of. So then you travel down to ACW in Port Richey. Now, I know WWN is kind of like a sister school with WWA4. What was the influence to come down here?
Just watching the people do it, man. Watching the people, even when I was younger, people who aren't around, they would get opportunities to come down to do the FIPs and the style battles and the Evolves and the ACWs and the stuff like that. And I would just always, especially what Fox is doing, I've been to the last, I don't know how many Evolves, and eventually, you end up talking to people who say, hey, come work ACW. You got a match against a Cruiserweight champion. Let's see what you can do. And then you just take momentum and go with it. WWN's big word is opportunity, and there's a ton of it here. And this environment's crazy too. You get a cool setup like this, man, of entrance and all that, and then you got people in the back who, just like WWA4, they really want you to get better.
Well, and you took that momentum and you completely ran with it, because before you know it, I think you'd only been down here like 2 or 3 times. You're a Cruiserweight champion. What was that experience like? And did you feel a sense of like validation? Is that kind of the beginning of that reward for all that effort that you invested in the front?
I mean, depending on how you look at the walls, man, you could be validated by that or you cannot be validated by that. I think it means I definitely to receive that opportunity means that they had confidence in me, and to receive that opportunity means that they wanted me on the big stages and to wrestle the better people around here. And this is an incredible locker room, but don't get me wrong, I feel like I could go with anybody here, and kind of show them we could have a lot of fun. So it's just a huge, great opportunity, man.
Well, and you kind of break apart in your own unique way, in your own wrestling style. So what was kind of the influences and formation of that? Like, I do see a little bit of Eddie Guerrero, but I also see a little bit of like a Rey Mysterio and all different factors. What were the greatest influences in you becoming the Bobby Flaco style in the ring?
My character, the moves are definitely, I always watch Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. As far as like movement, how to get where I'm going, I watch, I think AR Fox is the best wrestler in the world, so I watch him a lot. Even just like newer guys, I watch, not to put us the same guys over, I watch the way Austin Theory does what he does in the ring. And
he incorporates a lot of psychology, and it's cool that
realism
that comes from the school, that psychology is such an important part, because I know a lot of facilities will be like, I'll teach you how to chain wrestle, the rest you got to figure it out.
Which blows my mind. It blows my mind, and people are really out here, not to diss any, but people out here getting ripped off. Like, truthfully, every state's got a rip-off school. People looking
to make a fast buck.
It's sad. It's sad, man. But
and it's sad for the community as well, because those people are told, okay, now go out and wrestle in the world, and it's like they don't even know half of what they're supposed to, going out and doing shows, and it puts those who really did invest the time and money and got the right education at risk, working against uneducated yarders.
Yeah, and it's all in good spirit, man. Everybody wants to have fun, but there's levels to it. It just goes back to me being lucky to have started and worked where I am.
So what's the end goal? Where do you see yourself?
I hear a lot of champion.
WWE champion, okay. Why that? Why not a New Japan or a AEW or a Ring of Honor? Why WWE?
All those things could happen. All those things I would be proud of. All of those things are they're good things, but I wasn't 6 years old watching New Japan. I wasn't, watching AEW on the couch with my dad every night. You know what I mean? It's, and it's a really, really, really huge, big picture. And that's nothing against anywhere where wrestling happens. Not a single company has hit me up and offered me a contract. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not saying anything. I'm
that's
not
the
saying
one you
anything
grew
like
up
that.
watching,
Right.
so that seems like the mountaintop.
That's like the goal. You know what I mean? I wouldn't become New Japan champion. You think, maybe I don't want to go to the WWE.
Like you'll always want to go to the WWE.
Always, yeah.
Because it's like the last hill to climb almost.
Yeah, I agree.
In this wrestling landscape.
It's like the true dream. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's a good transition because we're in a really exciting time as of the last few weeks, the beginning of the Wednesday Night Wars, the debut of NWA Power. I want to hear your thoughts on the wrestling landscape as a whole. What do you think about all of these programs starting, all of these new companies opening up? Just tell me your perspective on all of it.
I think it's beautiful. I think just because I say that my particular goal is WWE champion doesn't mean that, everybody can eat now. There's competition. There's something out there for everybody. I think it's incredible. I think wrestling's at an awesome stage right now.
Well, and I think it's not as much about the war as it is who wins the war. The fans win the war,
right.
Because everybody gets something now.
Yep.
If you like a more old school traditional style, you got NWA.
Yep.
If you like a more overseas style, you got New Japan.
Yep.
If you like the juggernaut style, you got WWE, like the machine style WWE. And now you got AEW doing something kind of different. So I agree with you. Everybody wins, and the fans especially get to pick whatever they want. Now I want to ask you, what misconceptions did you have about wrestling that were dispersed once you got into it? For example, people thought I'd make a lot more money doing this. And then once they started doing it, oh no, I don't make a lot of money. Like, what kind of thought did you have about the business that was quickly dispelled once you got into it?
It was I didn't know a whole lot about it. A thought that I may have heard upon getting into the business is that you gotta do this for 7, 8, 9, 10 years and then like maybe get a shot. No matter how, it's hard work and it's a lot. But I didn't at first see myself being in the WWE. That was the original dream. You know what I mean? But when I first started wrestling, I was like, hey, this is cool. You know what I mean? I knew that as a kid it was my dream and I would fall back in love with it eventually, but I didn't know what it would turn into. So,
I
what
believe
was the question.
It was misconceptions, and you actually hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
One of the misconceptions is that there is a set path to success, and there really isn't. Mm-hmm. Like, you could just get lucky and be seen by the right person at the right time. It's a lot like Hollywood in that way. I make a lot of comparisons between the entertainment business and the wrestling business because it's very true. One person sees you, they like your look, and before you know it, you're on WWE.
Yep.
Like that, it could be as simple as that, or you could make that grind for 8 to 10 years and hopefully get an opportunity. So I agree with you. That's actually a really good one, and one I haven't heard before is the misconception of there's a set path to get to the top.
Right.
There really, really isn't.
Definitely.
If you had to give a piece of advice to someone who is interested in getting into the wrestling business, haven't even started training, haven't even looked at schools, they're just like, I want to be a wrestler one day, what piece of advice would you give them?
Make sure it's what you really want to do, and that can be taken into anything in life, really. I think that's it. It's doable. It's doable if it's your real dream. There's just a human being quality to where if you don't want to do something, you're not going to put as much into it. And not everybody wants to be a WWE professional wrestler, but I think it's doable. That's the number one message.
I think that's absolutely true, and I think there's a perfect comparison. Like, the American dream is if you want it, you can be it.
Right.
What in truth is, if you want it and are willing to do the work, you can be it. So I agree with you. It's doable. Anybody can get into the professional wrestling business, but they have to put in the work to get there.
You throw your whole life away, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Last question. If you could change one thing about the wrestling business, whether it's the pay, whether it's the attitude in the locker room, whether it's the travel. I had one person say, I wish all the towns were closer together because then we wouldn't have to travel as much. What would you change about the business? Fans' perspective is another one, like fan appreciation, all that kind of stuff. And nothing's off limits. What would you change?
That's tough. That's tough. Ah, man. I just truthfully love wrestling so much. But
Well, I'll give you another example. A lot of people say we need to change the old school mentality about wrestling. That, like, you know, you got to fight for your spot, that you got to, everything like that, that the veterans can keep the younger talent down, stuff like that. Like, that's an example. Is there anything you'd change?
I would agree. I think what a weird question to just blank out on. I try
It's
to
a
stay
big one, and
try to
I
stay
mean,
positive.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of things to consider when answering it, but
Yeah, I think that we could. I think it's happening, but I think it could be something to stay away from. Is that it just needs to be, and I think it's more our way now, but it needs to be more positive attitude pays off as opposed to time and chopping all the young kids and all this stuff, all that old school stuff. Maybe you're like exactly right. And just kind of like we changed the culture at WWA 4 by being forward thinking and, critiquing each other, but not,
boosting each other up and not beating each other down.
Not beating the shit out of each other on their birthday, you know what I mean? None of that. Just, let's be positive. Let's boost each other up because there's pipelines being created. There's a lot of good information being distributed that we as wrestlers can use to succeed.
Now I want to go into a segment called Take It Home, named after referee Tony Stabile. He gave me the name. This is your chance to plug anything you want to plug. Your social media, your school, any promotions you work for. You just go to town and say anything you want to say.
All right, cool. I deleted a couple social medias because I forgot my passwords on accident. So the Instagram is Bob's Here 4, and it's the one where the description says new Instagram because I'm an idiot. Twitter's like Bobby Flaco or whatever. You can always catch me every single Thursday at WWA 4 in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm always at ACW, working, always doing WWN shows. Any opportunity I can get at FIP and Evolve, I'm taking. Mucha Lucha is a company that's got me a lot of opportunities. Action Wrestling in Georgia. We're just taking it home.
Well, Bobby, thank you so much for joining me. And guys, thank you so much for watching another Interview Wednesday here on Turnbuckle Trash Talk.